And welcome back. Big night here for the Republicans. Obviously, tomorrow evening, their nominee will speak to the country. But in many ways, the most popular Republican on the ticket and arguably most popular Republican now, certainly to the conservative base, Paul Ryan. He will be speaking tonight in prime time. We will have that for you. But there is a question about those undecideds or moderates out there. If you remember the Reagan Democrats that went his way, will there be that equivalent this time around for Mitt Romney? And one way to convince those voters that, hey, don't vote again for Barack Obama is that he, down deep, is a moderate, and obviously he'd be best for the economy. Well, Andrew Whitman, our senior political correspondent, who's live in Tampa, he had a conversation with a person who, at least at one point in his career, was considered a moderate Republican. That's Rudy Giuliani. I know you talked to him about the subject, right?
Yeah, Rich, and he's had to do that same tap dance that we're expecting Paul Ryan to do. How do you sell very conservative policies to a very conservative base and still try to include moderates or even some Democrats or independents in that mix as you try to win election? It didn't work so well for Rudy Giuliani in 2008. Here's what he had to say about Mitt Romney's and Paul Ryan's opportunity here in 2012. You know, New York and New Jersey, especially Republicans, tend to be a little more moderate than they are around the rest of the country. What consolation, what can you say to moderates in the New York, New Jersey area who wonder if perhaps this candidate will be too conservative, severely conservative, as he said in the primary?
Well, I think you have to look at Mitt Romney and what he does when he has to accomplish things. Mitt Romney is a consummate pragmatist. There's no question about it. I watched him as governor of Massachusetts. Accomplished things in a Democratic state, even though he was a Republican. I look at his career at Bain. I mean, I keep thinking if he could have as much success as President of the United States as he had at Bain, we'd be in a lot better shape than we are in right now. We wouldn't have 8.3% unemployment. We wouldn't be seen as a country that people don't respect anymore. We wouldn't be a country in which the Secretary General of the UN, when asked not to go Iran, basically tells the president to go to hell. I mean, I think Mitt Romney will be a pragmatist, by and large, as president. He'll be guided by a basic conservative philosophy, but he won't be in a straitjacket based on his philosophy the way this president is.
We're going to hear a lot from Paul Ryan tonight about cuts and programs that need to be cut back, the social safety net that was instituted by FDR in some cases. How do you allay concerns about those cuts?
Well, I mean, this reminds me of Ronald Reagan's career. Ronald Reagan began his career as a Franklin Roosevelt Democrat, very convinced that we needed the social safety net during the Depression. I believe we did. But then Ronald Reagan left the Democratic Party because the social safety net began to lock people into poverty. It began to create enormous pockets of dependency. It began to take away incentive and the desire to work and started to take away. And I saw that. I began welfare reform in New York City 2 years before Newt Gingrich and Bill Clinton reformed welfare. I required people to work for their welfare check. It was very, very controversial. New York Times wrote really blistering editorials about why was I requiring people to work in order to get their welfare. And I said I was doing it because what I wanted to do was to reestablish for them the work ethic. And I think that's part of what's at jeopardy right now. President Obama has in mind a highly dependent society. He wants to see the number of people that are dependent increase. Obamacare increases the number of people that are dependent on the government by 30 or 40 million. I know there's a lot of controversy about this, but his administration was looking for ways to find waivers for the work requirements that I happen to know in great intimate detail, having been part of welfare reform, and looking for much more euphemistic ways to describe work and kind of eviscerate the work requirements of welfare. If he wasn't caught at it, I think he would have done it. So there's a difference here between more dependency and giving people more responsibility. And I think that's what this campaign's about. And I think Paul Ryan is going to speak to that tonight very, very eloquently.
Now, we had been hoping to speak to former Congressman Chris Shays of Connecticut, who knows a little bit of something about being a moderate in today's Republican Party. Just ask Linda McMahon. Unfortunately, he's not able to join us. He is caught up in the Secret Service security perimeter. Trust me, Rich, it is not easy or quick to get through that perimeter as we send it back to you.
All right, thank you. I've heard somebody bring a bottle of water and was almost strip searched. So, well, first of all, I'm not going to waste our time, but I think Rudy's full of, you know what, talking about the whole waiver, the waivers going on for a workfare as it is. But we'll set that aside. Rudy was pro-choice. Mitt Romney was pro-choice. Mitt Romney changed his position on abortion. Some will say it was politically expedient. Some will say it was a conversion of philosophy. Let me even give him the benefit of the doubt. To win those 6 to 7% of the majority of the undecided that are out there, and to convince the moderate Republicans that don't subscribe to the severely conservative, which he claimed to be, wing of the party. Tom, what's that challenge? Because Rudy couldn't get elected because people didn't believe that he had the conservative bona fides to make it through the primary. What does Mitt Romney have to project, and the party, frankly, have to project to be electable, not just in the really red places?
Well, here we are. We're talking about social issues again. People aren't talking about social.
Whether the party likes to or not, it's going to come up. And if you're on the edge, if you're on the margins one way or the other, it's going to inform your decision.
It will come up. It's not. The poll just came out a couple of days ago in the state of Pennsylvania, which is not a red state. It's not a blue state. It's kind of a purple state. Arguably could be a swing state if the winds blow in the right direction. About 1% of the people who were polled are going to make their choice based on the candidate's position on abortion. That's Pennsylvania. And we were seeing those numbers all over the country.
I agree with you, but let me ask you a question. You would have said the same thing if we went to the state of Missouri. When Todd Akin comes out with a position about what is legitimate, right? No, and I'm not in any way, shape, or form saying the Romney ticket subscribes to Akin. In fact, they condemn the words. However, the platform for the party didn't use the words legitimate rape, but they said no exceptions. Now, I'm not trying to make this election because it's not going to be about abortion. But what I'm trying to say to you is if you're trying to get that moderate voter, you got to paint a broad picture. You want to get them to work, but you're not going to be way out of the mainstream.
If you're trying to get that moderate voter, and listen, we're sitting here, we're in Westchester County. Westchester, we've got a president right now who thinks that a lot of the people who are firmly ensconced in the middle class in suburban areas like Westchester, Rockland County, Long Island, northern New Jersey, he believes those people are, quote unquote, wealthy Americans, and he wants to raise their taxes, even though we are sitting in the highest taxed area in the country. And I think that when you make the case and you say, listen, I want to lower the rates for everybody, I want to close the loopholes, I want to put more money in your pocket, I want to make government more efficient and more responsive to you, that's going to be the case that people are going to go for, because that's what's going to create jobs.
We can debate the actual numbers, certainly on what the new tax rates proposed by Ryan will do. Dom, again, from a framing standpoint, he positioned himself as severely conservative, his words, during the primary. We all agree you got to do what you got to do to get elected. But this is a guy who's changed positions multiple times and people said doesn't have a political core.
You're being very nice.
I am. I'm trying. But he's got to make the closing argument Mitt Romney does between now and November to say, this is who I am. My question is, what is the best Romney version that's going to get him elected? He's already got the primary nomination. And I think as we've seen, people, certainly in Tampa and in other parts of the country, can't stand Obama. They're going to vote for him no matter what he does. Is it smarter to move to the middle right now, or is it smarter, as Jonathan Karl said, is do whatever you got to do to ramp up that base?
Well, I think we're going to see a combination of both.
Can you really do both?
Yeah, you can, because here's the bottom line. And you're asking what's he going to do, he being Mr. Romney. I think his wife already told us last night. What they're selling you is real simple, Richard. My experience at Bain, my experience as a businessman is going to deliver for the country. When she said last night, I guarantee you no one's going to work harder and he won't fail. Now, it's up to those moderate voters whether or not they're going to buy that argument. But that's what he's selling. And so he's not selling personality. He loses that argument with Obama. He's not selling likability. He loses that argument. He's not selling personality, ego, any of that stuff. He's not selling foreign policy. He's the guy, Obama, that got you in trouble over the last 4 years.
8.3 under him becomes 6.3
right, and I'm the guy that can clean it.
Okay. All right, we're going to take a break here. When we come back, though, guys, I want to know what you thought of Chris Christie last night here. And if you think it was, well, maybe a little heavy on Christie, I don't think you realize just how much it was about Chris Christie. We're going to have the video evidence, as they say, to prove it. That's up next. Stay with us.